The Cheating Death Podcast is a satirical podcast containing objective, direct, transparent, non-biased, and non-partisan information about anything and everything under the sun. Note, dear listener, that by you making the choice to listen to this program, you are subjecting yourself to the entryway to one of the deepest rabbit holes of the mind one can explore. We are not political. We are not religious. We are merely analytical. And perhaps, maybe just a tiny bit litigious, but that is neither here nor there, because you are free from despair, because this is the Cheating Death Podcast. On today's episode of the Cheating Death Podcast, we continue upon our exploration of the very notion of what it is to understand what you need to do to stop making excuses and for you to actually move forward and do what you can to live in every single conceivable way that you were meant to live and that you were meant to associate yourself with the species in whom calls themselves humanity. Today, we also provide you with a brand new joke of the day, an all-new business spotlight, and of course, dear listeners, where would we be without 5 more iced cocktails, given the nature and the dichotomy of the wonderful data centers constantly going up, constantly causing humidity to rise? We must do what we can in order to cool down. Of course, we also provide you with an all-new Annihilation Announcement, and there's so much more, dear listeners, so by now, you know what to do, and instead of that iced coffee, you know what? Grab yourself a delicious iced cocktail, throw your shoes up on that table, and your feet as well, because by now you know that we are going to tell you how you can cheat death. This is your news anchor, the Cleric of Chaos, and this is your Annihilation Announcement. We constantly subject ourselves to the most severe of scrutinies whenever it appears that we are about to fail at a task, an endeavor, or a goal. This is not conducive or beneficial to the mind, the soul, or the people around you. We reflect in ways that we would not ask our enemies nor our friends to reflect. We look at things from a particular and a unique angle given the nature and the circumstances of the very realm of situations that come upon us. There are no easy ways to explain, dear listeners, that you hold the key to each and every single obstacle you face, regardless of whether it be choosing another path, if that current obstacle is something that you may not be able to overcome, or if it is asking yourself what you need to do in order to rise above your current circumstance. The overall idea of annihilation and the reason why the Annihilation Announcement exists is not just to serve as a pseudo news bulletin, more on this in the Frizzies at 11. Understand that fighting the Frizzies is finding yourself in a way to where you understand that all of us will inevitably be annihilated. Each and every single one of us will face the depths of despair. Entropy and decay will inevitably consume us all. However, does that mean that we need to look at ourselves in the mirror and identify that our lives are not worth living? Does that mean that we need to look at ourselves in the mirror and decide that we are going to be greedy, avaricious, filled with malice, and absolute hate towards one another? Absolutely not. These are reasons, these are identifications, these are specifications that we always put on ourselves, and externally, there are so many echo chambers around you that are lost in tornadoes of torment that we need to look beyond the horizon to see what it is that brings you to the next level. But ultimately, at the end of the day, we need to note and we need to see exactly what it is that brings us to those doors. There is nothing that you can do in some ways, shapes, or forms to change other people. But why would you want to change someone else? Why would you want to fix someone else? Why would you want to do that to yourself and put yourself through the calamity and the emotional struggle that it takes to deal with this individual or this situation? For in these particular circumstances, it makes absolutely no sense for the individual in question to go out of their way to continue to wage war upon mediocrity in a manner in which they do not feel comfortable doing so. This is one of the reasons why when you look in the mirror and when you try to figure out exactly what it is that you need to do to be a better person, that you need to not listen to other people, that you need to understand within yourself that you have the capabilities and the tools and the wherewithal to do it. We literally have access to more information at this point in life than we ever had in recorded human history. Yet so many people, instead of looking up the information themselves, will ask other people the most rudimentary, the most basic, and the most annoying questions possible, all because they want attention, all because they want someone to hear them. Well, figure out your voice and hear yourself, because 9 times out of 10, whenever you bother someone and whenever you try to reach them and ask them the most pedantic questions that you could have easily configured on your own within 2 minutes, understand that you are not being communicative and you are not being social, you're being a jerk. You are being an asshole. You are being a self-serving, malicious, avaricious, non-compliant piece of shit. And realize that that also extends to the very notion that everyone in your life needs to cater to you. The reality that everyone in your life needs to validate your existence. No, that is an absolutely selfish view. And the amount of times that we have heard from people in the past 14 days exactly how they feel as it pertains to their value and their position in life and how they need their friends to understand just how quote-unquote great they are, these people are absolutely disturbing, disgusting, and despicable. We need to note, dear listeners, that if we do not challenge ourselves, our perceptions, our beliefs, our value systems, and our morals, and if we remain stuck in our echo chambers, the only people that we are harming in the end are ourselves. So what is stopping you from being a better person? What is stopping you from getting up off your ass and maybe doing something for someone else? Going down to a soup kitchen or volunteering at a homeless shelter or maybe helping out some senior citizens carry their groceries. It doesn't matter how it looks. Do something just for the sake of doing something nice. Do not put it on social media. Do not broadcast it. Do not record it, because that in and of itself nullifies the entire point of doing something nice for another person. We have reached a point to where avarice and greed are the top of the pyramid, and yet no one calls it that anymore unless they fit a certain archetype. This, dear listener, is one of the most important things that you will ever find upon your journey to be tumultuous, the battle and the struggle between the self and the collective. Understand that if it was all about the self, we would not be pack animals, we would not be gregarious, we would not have spent 350,000 plus years in our current existential form trying to configure society as to how it is now. We would not be in a position to where our brains and our nervous systems would be constantly destroyed through overstimulation and non-compliance. We, as a species, need to do better. This has been your news anchor, the Cleric of Chaos, and this has been your Annihilation Announcement. Willkommen, meine Freunde. Guten Morgen, guten Tag und eine gute Nacht. Ist ein Reisender und ein Ausländer. Deine Allesfresser, wer nicht der Schauspieler und ich dich eines aus der Gemacht. Ich habe es eine altes Fleisch. Und heute ist ein schöner Tag, my friend, because today we explore the depths and the depravity of not making excuses, to look yourself in the mirror and to ask yourself the very hard questions that you continuously avoid asking yourself because of your emotional state or your condition. The fact that the fragility of the human mind and of the human soul are such that if you put yourself into even the most inconvenient or the most difficult of positions, some people may just break down and cry. Some people may not be capable of even the most rudimentary and or the most basic of social expectations, predominantly because the other individual did not make it easy for them first. Well, this is in of itself a calamity within society. We do not ask ourselves these questions because we better serve other people. No, we ask these questions because we want to be better people ourselves. We want to be able to look at ourselves in the mirror every morning and be able to identify that we have worth, that we have value, that we have meaning on this planet. However, 9 times out of 10, whenever it comes down to the certain situations that are applicable to certain formats and conditions, 90% of people in whom are listening to this program will have a good idea as to what it is to look inside your soul and ask yourself the tough questions, to look inside of the very fabric of the mind that you possess and see exactly what it is that you need to do to move forward, what you need to do to figure things out, what you need to do to move on, and to try to evaluate what it is to eliminate those excuses from your itinerary, from your agenda, from your overall organizational capacity within your brain. You need to do what you can to fight and to move forward. There are no easy answers through any element of life unless you have a firm network and unless you have the silver spoon. But dear listeners, 90% of the people, 95% of the people in whom have these silver spoons will not know what it is actually like to truly live life. Sure, they drift, they travel, they post on social media about how amazing their lives are and about how they have absolutely nothing but spare time. But does that actually constitute a life? Does that actually constitute earning your way? Is that a meritocracy? Absolutely not. But for you to feel that our life is based on a meritocracy, do not fool yourselves and do not kid yourselves into thinking that there is a certain level to where if you work hard enough, you'll get everything that you need. Absolutely not. Life is a hybrid and a fusion of a combination of working your ass off and just getting lucky enough at the right place and at the right time and the right opportunity. There are very few people in whom have ever existed on this planet who have not suffered immensely while working as hard as they humanly can to wage war upon their own inner conflict, all the while growing, changing, and believing in themselves that they can do better for themselves, that they can do better for their families, that they can do better for society, that they, as an organism, have a responsibility in this universe to go forth and to make life better for those around them, to use the skills, to use the gifts, to use all of the natural-born elements that you were bestowed upon to make life better for other people. Because even though all of us will die alone, and we will not be able to take those with us when we depart, note that dear departed souls will always be able to return home. That when we vanish our physical vessels, that our consciousness is still conscious, that we do still see, we do still hear, we do still feel, we do still sense everything. You become a part of everything. And one of the reasons why you are able to look yourself in the mirror and identify your reasons for pushing forward is because you, at that point, have decided to stop making excuses. You have decided to stop putting obstacles and barriers in front of yourself. You made the decision to push forward. Because you see, there are a litany of circumstances in which this lovely gambling lottery of life provides us. The roulette wheel spins without any preference. The roulette wheel spins without any emotion. It continues. it never stops. And when you understand that, when you see what the other ideologies, circumstances, and provisionary settings of these particular mindsets of these individuals are, it is at that time that you yourself begin to see that some people, when they stop making excuses and they just do it, they acknowledge that they're going to make mistakes. They acknowledge that they're going to fail, yet they still push forward anyway. They're still open to criticism. They're still open to feedback because all they want to do is grow. They don't make excuses. They don't make obstacles for themselves. Instead, they deal with the obstacles that come with them, and they overcome them by any means necessary. This is not a new or a noble concept, dear listeners. This is one of those ideas and or symptoms of humanity that we find ourselves in when we are constantly running around in circles, asking ourselves what we can do to stop making excuses and to just do better. The answer is simple. Just stand up. Just do better for yourself. Just take time and identify, explain, and understand exactly what it is to yourself, what you want your future to be. Because those around you are only going to be able to provide you with certain bits of information and guidance to an extent. The remainder of the effort, it falls on you. And when you realize that the extent of your evolution, your organization, and your development is your responsibility alone, that is when you will start to grow, and that is when you will start to evolve as a human being. So, dear listeners, stop making excuses, start your growth, and understand that you can and you will succeed as long as you are willing to put in the work and as long as you are willing to stay alive and never give up on your dreams and never give up on your path. Just do what you can to be as kind, as generous, as positive, and as direct a person as you humanly can. Stop making excuses. Get the fuck up and kick ass today. Thank you for tuning in today. Take care of yourselves and each other. At the top of today's episode, we promised you another list of 5 iced cocktails because the weather is humid, and with the amount of data centers being built, it is not going to slow down anytime soon, so we're always going to need new ways to cool down. Coming in at number 5, we have the frozen strawberry daiquiri. Coming in at number 4, we have the lime citrus gin and ginger. Coming in at number 3, we have one of the most delicious delights, and that is the frozen Tom Collins. Coming in at number 2, we are looking straight at you, Mr. Frozen Long Island iced tea. And coming in at number 1, we of course have almost everyone's favorite beverage that you can make yourself, tequila Slurpees. What is your top 5? Feel free to email us at thecheatingdeathpodcast@gmail.com. Today's joke has been brought to you by the Cleric of Chaos. Throughout the road of life, we will often find that we look back on our lives and we think about those who we lost. Admittedly, I do the same. But then I also understand that that's why I stopped being a tour guide. On today's episode of the Business Spotlight, once again brought to you by CRDVC. Are you looking for a cost-effective consultant to assist you with event management, event hosting, return on your investment, or increasing your employee retention? Perhaps you are a corporation looking for ways to diversify your portfolio and identify specific areas of opportunity and strengths within your organization. By all means, email us at clericonchaos@gmail.com for 25 to 50% off of your first program. Dear listeners, are you tired of the absolutely abysmal individuals getting away with internet and perpetuating the crimes against the vulnerable and the innocent? Well, look no further. Give my friend Douglas Mallow on Instagram and YouTube a follow at just_the_epic, as well as follow youtube.com/@scalingupcatches, because Douglas Mallow is a professional wrestler, powerlifter, and predator catcher extraordinaire, working alongside Eric Konevsky and Tanner outside of Florida and California. These entities and lovely people are focused on doing what they can to send folks straight to jail. So when you take an opportunity to see for yourself just what their work is providing the society in which they dwell upon, why not give them a like, share, and subscribe? So head on over to Doug's Instagram at just_the_epic_. Today, Are you looking for a way to have a laugh and a drink at the same time? Look no further, my friends, because every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday at 8 p.m. and 10 p.m., there are shows at the Backroom Comedy Club, 814 Bloor Street West in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Cost-effective solutions on both ticket prices as well as drinks. A unique and warm environment for comedians and audience members alike to congregate and identify the specific values and jokes in which they wish to perpetuate. Why not stop by and buy a ticket and grab yourself a laugh and a chair today? Of course, 30 units down the street, we have Keys Comedy Club, which operates multiple times a week and provides both professional and open mic stand-up comedy shows. So head on over to keyscomedyclub.com and get yourself a ticket for as low as $9 plus taxes and fees, or head on over to Keys Comedy Club at Instagram and give him a like, share, and subscribe. Tell him the Cheating Death Podcast sent you, and there very well may be an extra opportunity for you to attend the next show. Where would we be without food, ladies and gentlemen? Well, it's quite simple, because at Dundas Shawarma on 768 Dundas Street West, there is an opportunity for you to have both the beautiful delights of the shawarma variety and of the pizza variety. Stop by there anytime between noon and midnight to grab yourself a shawarma wrap and a pizza slice, and tell them the Cheating Death Podcast sent you. And of course, dear listeners, where would we be without the W Burger Bar? Because at 10 College Street, 11 a.m. through 2 a.m. Monday through Sunday, they are open and available to serve you and provide you with a realm of service that you would absolutely love, and have food and drinks that will serve to delight your mind and give you memories for years to come. Grab yourself a $9.99 fishbowl of the Raspberry Riptide or of the Pink Pearl. Grab yourself a frozen daiquiri and or a $2.25 glass of PBR. There are so many options for you to choose from, and a $9.99 lunch special of burger and fries between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. So stop by the W Burger Bar at 10 College Street today. And remember, dear listeners, if you are looking to advertise your business, feel free to reach out to us at clericvonchaos@gmail.com for 25 to 50% off of your first advertising package. And remember, what you do with your business is no one's business but your business. Throughout this program, you have been given a couple of examples as it pertains to the very notion as to what excuse-making looks like, and or how people hold themselves back from reaching their true potential based on their physiological, psychological, and emotional actions. Note that there is no one-track solution to any equation. There is no solution to which is worth finding unless the question itself is posed in a way to where it offers you a chance to grow. Stop making excuses. Stop looking yourself in the mirror and telling yourself you cannot do something, that you will not do something, that you are afraid of change, that you are afraid of moving forward in a way that will be able to create a destiny for yourself that you yourself have earned. The idea of manifesting or attracting takes on many different forms, verbiages, terminologies, and lexicons, but you need to note, dear listener, that there is absolutely no answer that can be acquired without looking into your soul first. Everyone is always looking for external validation and opinion and identifying their worth based on their material value or based on what they have to offer people on a physical scale. But in actuality, the whole point of life is to get through it and to grow, to change, and to nurture and to foster a positive and healthy environment. Malice, greed, and avarice are plagues upon our society, and how we choose to move forward is each and every single one of our choices. We do not possess the ability to understand things at a grander scale on a universal level for a reason. For if we were to, we would not be human. We would be organisms that are able to transcend the very notion of light and sound. The very idea that humanity will ever become a Kardashev 1 or a Kardashev 2 type civilization are very far off. In fact, the very notion that we ever will reach galactic conquest, if we vehemently and ardently refuse to abolish the differences between each other, including that of the religion and the scientific and the educational persuasion, we are not going to evolve. We are not going to grow. We are not going to be the species and the organisms that the universe needs us to be. For you see, the things that we argue over are very primordial. They are, in their very notion, very quizzical, very simple, very needless. And yet here we are, all of us still looking for answers and trying to figure out exactly what it is we can do to move forward. But all you need to do is start simple. Stop making excuses. Get up. Look in the mirror. Write down what your areas of opportunity are. Focus on them. Channel your capability. And don't give up on yourself. Because the moment you do is the moment that the universe should stop caring about you too. Thank you for tuning in today. Take care of yourselves and each other. The Cheating Death Podcast is brought to you by Nachdem Lieben CRDVC, Cleric of Chaos, and where you can find all podcasts on all platforms. Please follow us at youtube.com/@Cleric of Chaos and twitter.com/Cleric of Chaos, as well as follow all of our pinned profile post consultants, producers, friends, as well as members. Note, dear listener, that all of the consultants and the producers of the program are individuals in whom have been listed as credits. These are individuals and friends of the program. Be advised that we must be transparent. None of those individuals actually participate in the curation and or direction of the program. It is all done by one organism. That being said, be sure that if you are going through any sort of gambling abuse, substance withdrawal, or any sort of emergency calamity, to please consult the telephone numbers listed in the episodes and in the podcast's description. Note as well that when it comes to being able to identify within oneself that you are in danger, please always take care of yourself and identify exactly what you can do to change your environment. If you or anyone you know is looking at adopting a playful puppy or a cute kitten, please visit your local animal adoption rescue center. They are in dire need of your support. And visit yummypets.com/voice and sign up for a free account. Click the button once every day to give animals in need a hand an opportunity at 330 pounds of free food at the end of each month. And of course, dear listeners, without identifying your particular point of contention and or your area of opportunity, we all know that life is not a one-track solution, and nor is it an easy thing to escape. None of us get out of this alive, and we all hold ourselves accountable to the Reaper. You must do what you can to be the person and the individual in whom you want to see in the world. We know that this is not easy, but life itself is not easy. And remember, we're pulling for you. We're all in this together.